but the time when people needed to show up was 4 years ago. So many of you will have been shocked or surprised that the overturning of Roe versus Wade. I don't know anyone who's paying attention who was shocked and surprised. This has been a 40-year strategy. The religious right in the United States set up their own law schools in the 1980s to train judges and solicitors to bring cases and to sit in courts at all levels of the court system. And then we end up with a conservative Supreme Court in the US. So this is not a shock or surprise. This is a strategy, and this has been happening for 40 years. Likewise, in the UK, I have spent the best part of my adult life defending the 1967 Abortion Act. For most of you, you won't realise that this has been constantly under threat, but it has. There's been nearly 60 attempts to restrict abortion since 1967, and all of them had to be fought off. All of them. All of them had to be defended. Sometimes they were big accounts, sometimes they were small private members' bill, but we've been doing this work for a long time, and most of the time nobody takes any notice. I mean, how did your MP vote last week around abortion rights in Northern Ireland? Do any of you know? Have you been paying attention? How did your MP vote a few weeks ago around telemedicine? The thing is that the right to abortion is fundamental. It's because it's a basic equality right. And if you haven't been paying attention to how your MP votes on abortion, then, you're exactly the same people who have watched this coming in the US. Right? It's a really long struggle. And it's been going on for years. Abortion is still a crime in England. How many of you knew that? How many of you know that we still send women to prison for having an abortion in England? Right? This is what is happening because we haven't managed to decriminalise it. And the left has been as bad as the right on this. They really have. No Labour government when we had one. Remember those days? Yeah, just about. Some of you won't. But they didn't decriminalise abortion. They didn't give abortion rights to Northern Ireland. Because women's rights and pregnant people's rights are always the bottom of the agenda. But if you don't think that a politician is going to pay attention to basic equality, how much can you trust them on certain other issues? How much can you trust them to leave poverty if they don't believe people should be in control of their lives? How much can you trust them on the environment if they don't believe in these basic rights? So the anti-choice movement is active in the UK. It's been active for a long time. Actually, in Europe, there's more European money and Russian money that goes into the anti-abortion movement than there is money from the US. Now, the US is an iconic case. It's going to cause devastation to many people. But actually, in some of the states, abortion access is so bad, it's not actually going to make that much difference on the ground. Because it's already the case that people can't access abortion. It's already the case that people have to travel. But they have to travel here too. Women in Scotland often have to travel to England to have an abortion. Women in Northern Ireland are still travelling to the mainland to have abortion. Even during COVID, when there was no flights and no hotels open, women were getting on ferries because they had to travel to England for abortion. Because everything else always takes priority, and I think that needs to stop now. And we need to pay attention, and we need to be much more vocal. And actually, nobody needs to be ashamed, like Joe Biden is, about actually saying the word abortion. Have you noticed how he tries to talk around it but doesn't say the words? It's fascinating to watch. So we need to make sure that everybody knows that abortion is a human right. We need to make sure and show up, and we need to ask questions of our politicians. We need to hold them to account, and we need to make sure that actually the pro-choice majority, which we do have in this country, but they also have in the US, is actually much more vocal. And don't think that hanging on because we have the 67 Abortion Act, which sort of works, but we can work around when it doesn't, is enough, because it isn't. And the time to start is now. Thank you.